The hand transfer style, also known as the press style, is a magical, complex style and technique that gives breaking the illusion of floating and hovering above the floor. One of the last styles to be influenced by the ciphers, but born at the cusp of the competition era in the late 90s and early 2000s. Journey with us as we uncover the secrets of the hand transfer style. I'm Dyzee of the Supernaturals. Join me on this 12-episode journey as I go deeper into the origins to uncover the lost and secret styles of b-boying. In the year 2001, before anyone knew who I was, me and my crew won a battle for plane tickets to the once legendary event, B-Boy Summit, which was the biggest b-boy festival of those days. I was eager to rep in all the circles and get my name out and show my Toronto style of dynamic footwork and complex illusionary threads. What I was not prepared for is to see a style that I could not comprehend. I witnessed another complex illusionary style that looked as if the b-boys were doing footwork without their feet touching the floor. I was inspired to the highest degree because I saw how this style used a lot of low-level freezes, which I had already created many on my own. After returning home to Toronto, through the notorious bboyworld.com forums, I began seeing YouTube videos of b-boys from Las Vegas, and there was one b-boy who stuck out to me. B-boy Ronnie. He had many similar low-level freezes to me, and I knew it was only a matter of time before we crossed paths. A few months later, I was invited to the Rocksteady Anniversary solo battle, the biggest one-on-one of that day. On the list of competitors was Ronnie. Although we did not end up meeting in the competition, which I ended up winning that launched my b-boy career, I met Ronnie after the battle, where we immediately got along and have been friends ever since. After visiting him in Vegas for an event called Illest in the Game, did I properly get introduced to the style which I nicknamed the Vegas style. Although Ronnie was more all around, he still had many little hand transfer combos. One of the b-boys I met in Vegas was Roland, who was considered one of the best b-boys during that time and had that style. I asked him for tips on the style, as I also gave him tips on threading. From there, I began working on the Vegas style to add to my break-in. I knew that I would need to create some good counters in case I battled someone with that style. What I didn't know was that me and Roland would become bitter rivals.
Step up or step off, get rolled on, smoke then toss. Beginning of a legend at a minimal cost. With plenty of cars, so go bring the alarm. Pause, let them feel the calm. Before I unleash the storm, you've been born, get it on. No time to waste, as my flow invades your space, there's no escape. Can't beat me in shell toes. New school fuse with retro. Unleash the beast and let go. Y'all can't compete, defeat all foes. You dealing with a pro, move so swift, hardly touch the flow. Don't make me explode, I'm dynamite, and I might just blow. Supernatural soul, maniac on the flow. Y'all can never match my flow. Attack or fall back, I'm on the approach. Yeah, come get smoked, I provoke the whole site for the choke. Keep it hot, let's go, let me see what you got. Can you rock and roll? Please, enter the circle, show and prove or go back to rehearsal. My crew will hurt you, guards of the game, no change or reversal. Worldwide universal, bring your whole squad, I go hard and disperse you. Don't break curfew, step to the masters and end your chapter. No applause, just laughter. Cameras off, you are not captured. Writers get sullied, thrown in the hamper. Snatch your breath, death by asthma. Pour the fuel, light the fuse. Burst the flames, engulf your crew. Tame the fire before you lose. Game over, who's next to get schooled? Supernatural soul, maniac on the flow. Y'all can never match my flow. Attack or fall back, I'm on the approach. Yeah, come get smoked. I provoke the whole site for the choke. Keep it hot, let's go. Let me see what you got. Can you rock and roll? This round hands down for the experts. Up tops and rock with the legwork. Pound for pound on battlegrounds. Shut you up and shut you down. Violate, annihilate. Serve you fools without the plate. There's no debate, you duplicate. We adapt the flow and change the pace. Please, you out of your league. I started on a box tape down to the street. Original, unique. Innovator, creator, the man to be. All eyes on me. One man army. You can talk, but talk is cheap. Get burnt to the 3rd degree. Supernatural soul, maniac on the flow. Y'all can never match my flow. Attack or fall back, I'm on the approach. Yeah, come get smoked. I provoke the whole site for the choke. Keep it hot, let's go. Let me see what you got. Can you rock and roll? Are you ready? Make some noise. Noise. Bring the beans on the floor. Scratching again. Word up.
For the past few weeks, I've been reaching out to the influential b-boys to learn more about the Vegas-style hand transfers and where it came from. I reached out to as many pioneers as I could, but had a difficult time getting a hold of everyone. Here are just a few interviews from b-boys that I witnessed being heavy influences of this style.
I have a lot to say about, when and where and hows, but I will start with the basics. The press is a move originating in gymnastics and acrobats. It is, when you have your hands between your legs and hold yourself up, when you have your arms straightened. There are also variations with your hands outside of, your legs, holding yourself up. Your hands are outside your legs, or even outside and one inside, so kind of like this, like that. It is kind of a good move to use for transitions, for coffee grinders, threads, and other aspects of circus style like Thoshan homework style. It was also a good move to transfer to a planche or a or a handstand. People been doing that stuff for forever. I can't remember. I can't remember where, dude. I'm pretty sure I was seeing that type of stuff, back in like 95, 97. I wasn't really, doing that stuff back then. But I probably started doing it like around 98, 99. I was more known for like stacking freezes and presses and hand stepping freezes and stacking freezes from and into hand stepping, or as I call it, flagpole sitting. Shit like cool move and other cool move variations. That's what I was kind of known for, like, just like walking presses and transferring into presses like in different ways.
Say late mid 90s, because
Late mid 90s.
yeah, it was around the time when we were watching Strategic Monsters. Mike, whose big inspiration was, obviously Style Elements and Remind, because he had the original style. Fast forward, when we would watch some of the Fat Pounds freestyle session, VHS tape freestyle reveal, and he was doing multiple freezes, but in two hands. So when Full Force started in 95, we were, kind of fascinated by like the concepts, like freezes,
Yeah.
thread, all that. And then
Yeah.
Knucklehead started in '98, and we
Yeah.
started working together. We started kind of fusing different ideas, like the concept of threads and just different transitions. And then another crew ended up coming about called Rouse. I think there was two main events in Vegas: Concrete Soul in 2000 and Ellis in the Game in 2001, and that was when we pretty much came out with a different style. And it was Knucklehead Zoo, it was Full Force, and it was like Rouse. And we were doing thread, we were doing transfers, stepping on the hands. Ellis in the Game. That was a big event because Rouse got second place, and that's when they were really doing the transfers and
Hand
kind of
transfers,
when they would see Roland doing that style, it was
Yeah.
called Vegas style too. But I had to explain to them, I was like, well, he was already doing that before he moved to Vegas. Jin was almost like an honorary Super Crew member because we used to battle with or they battled with Super Crew at one moment in freestyle session. We were calling everyone out.
Acrobats and stuff like that. We would often like mingle in with like, circus acrobats that were working for like the shows out here, like the Cirque du Soleils and stuff like that. So Vegas has like an entertainment kind of vibe, you know what I mean? So there was definitely a lot of different influences.
I honestly will say when I came up with my moves, they were homegrown. For example, flagpole sitting, I came up with because I was inspired by images of people from the 1920s, of people literally sitting on top of flagpoles, and they were sitting there for a while. I don't know why they did it, but the image stuck with me. And also, there were people in Kung Fu, they would do the monkey staff routines where people would wrap their legs around, the staff. And they were only supported by the staff holding them up. I kind of put the two together and came up with the flagpole pose, which would later be a kind of, it'll be kind of like a major influence to the whole transfer style or circus style movement. And I did it at the Bronco Bowl just a month before Freestyle Session 99, which I kind of surprised everyone when I did it because like I was always doing like, like planches and shitty hollow packs. I was obsessed with them. Like I think like when I saw like the positive attention it got, I just started developing it more. Like years later, I've talked to Primate from Sent from Above about it, about like like the flagpole sit, because actually he's been doing it for a while too, and he had developed flagpole sitting independently on his own, and he's from San Diego or L.A. Like people got inspired and just like started developing it on their own. But I know that there were people that did bite.
A lot of times people don't realize that when you're around different b-boys, different styles, ideas come, and obviously you flip it, you make it your own.
Of course.
Inspiration comes from everywhere, and at that time, I was traveling in the early 2000s. So even though it's considered a Vegas style, we definitely drew inspiration from like different cities and different crews.
I saw Roland from Mighty Four website. I think he was with Headhunters at the time, do the flagpole sitting, but he was doing it on his fist. So he would rest his hands right here, but his fist was leverage, so he was doing it on his fist. Now I won't be petty, but I will say some people, they made the move independently, and I believe them. And the ones that did bite, I won't exactly say names because I like and or got mad love and or respect some of these guys. You know, I will say some of them took the style to the next level. You know, I will say that. But the thing about it was this became kind of like an arms race to see who could do the flagpole sitting into different freezes. Like I was the first to do it in and out of an air baby and go from a pike to an inward one, one hand press.
Our generation kind of wasn't accepted by the older generation, more of the original b-boys. We had like Rock City crew members out here and kind of like guys that were doing more of a traditional style, and we were kind of influenced by by the whole scene. It was like an innovative time, and we were kind of just really just a part of that innovating like energy. You know what I mean? It was just kind of a vibe that was going on. Kids kind of just having no real restriction of what they could try to do and what they wanted to do.
People started to get creative with like this whole, like press style and like flagpole sitting and well, I don't know, transfer styles or whatever you guys call it. Ben, Dyzee, and Ronnie utilize it in their flow. Yeah, like I remember Alex from Alien Squad, like rest in peace, did an air baby with the opposite foot squished between his elbow. And also the thing is like Exuberant, he wasn't very big on press styles, but he did a crow freeze where we'd actually have like his right foot on his right hand, like so that was kind of a proof concept that he's done stuff where his feet would touch his arms, but he wasn't big on press style. He didn't really do that kind of stuff. I kind of already mentioned the who and what. Basically, it's kung fu thing, just watching kung fu and then just imitating it. An extinct 1920s pastime, which is flagpole sitting. Gymnastics, acrobats, particularly Circus Soleil, or however you pronounce it. And there's also the drive to make something your own, like coming up with a way to go like from a handstand and falling into an outside inside press, like I did back in some random YA jam in Houston, I think.
To be honest, from my personal experience in breaking and my influences, there's a few people like obviously Canada, like watching Migas and watching you guys.
Yeah.
You guys definitely inspired us.
So a lot of our influencers were guys like Cujo, Soul Control, you know what I'm saying, doing those crazy power moves with those, Cujo doing those planges and just going into these crazy transitions, and Inferno also was doing some crazy stuff. And Crumbs with the crazy strength and all these powerful moves. All that stuff kind of was just influencing our style to also develop. It was kind of like a booming kind of time in b-boying, I feel like.
The purpose of the press style was kind of to give variety. It was supposed to give variety into the battle. My crew was pretty diverse in style, so it was pretty natural to be like the oddball to go out and do some alien shit.
I just think all around Vegas, we're trying to make noise just like any other city.
The strength was, the strength of the style was this good, unique way to transition into freezes, and it was sometimes flowed into footwork or threads.
Those are the strengths. 100% is the originality, the execution factor, the blow up factor too. Because I think at one point it goes for just our generation in general. Even though it was about moves, it was always about hitting that last freeze or just sticking that execution. There has to be like a period at the end of the story. So yeah, it was always about doing these transitions and not just getting up from it, but then finding like an original freeze. I think a lot of the b-boys in Vegas kind of had that concept. So anytime I already knew that people were trying to create a theme to their moves, to their round.
The weakness of it is, the nuances can't really be seen. Sometimes they'd be missed because you're so low to the ground. And it was like probably better to do it on stage or in a manner in which everybody could see. Also, the style was kind of falling out of favor, like for more motion, moves more centered around like air flares and tap mills. That's the stuff that's kind of coming in now.
Vegas style. Well, if we were to trace it back to when we first started it, we did lack a lot of fundamental footwork steps that didn't incorporate, but we're starting to.
Also, another downside to like flagpole sitting is that when your arms get sweaty and you have to rely mostly on those kind of moves, and I have to put my foot right here and then it will slip right off because my hand's so sweaty. That would happen, and then like it was hard to do kind of with like a long sleeve shirt because like your legs would kind of like drag your shirt down. You can execute it perfectly if you wore a long sleeve shirt sometimes. The b-boys that come to mind for me are, okay, it's me, obviously. Roland, Grimace, Lee, Ronnie, Ben, Wes from Full Force, Paranoid Android to some extent, Thosh to some extent, Byron, Danny, Dyzee, even Robzilla. Like, I would even say Benji from France. And Plastic Man. I'll even give credit to Plastic Man, even though he did mostly his shtick was like Lotus Reasons. And I remember he was probably like one of the first ones I seen to do Air Babies. I say we push the boundaries for the style. Also, I seen some Russians do some sick shit with it just recently. So
Well, Benstacks for sure from Super Crew.
Ben, yeah.
With BJ, he was part of Rouse, and Short Graham, he was one of them as well.
Sure.
So Graham and BJ, who represent Rouse, they ended
BJ,
up
yeah.
in the finals. They got second place at Ellis in the game back in 2001, and I think
Yeah.
that's when the Vegas style kind of exploded. Of course, with Full Force and Knuckleheads collaborating and battling at Freestyle Session. We kind of I was exposed to these big events as well. But if I were to name three, I would say like Ben, Chris, who's also part of Knuckleheads. He was doing a lot of transfers. Graham and BJ. So those four kind of come to mind. They were doing this. Roland is from the Bay, and Jim is from Texas. But yeah, I guess you would say that is kind of like a Vegas style, but I wouldn't want to take credit for their style because they were already doing that. Two people that were doing it the most, just like as a whole style, was Roland and Jin.
Yo, so some of the names that I think of when I think about the early 2000s Vegas transfer style, it's guys like Byron, Knuckleheads, Ronnie, Full Force, of course, crazy transitions and flow. Chris, Knuckleheads. Wes from Full Force was always doing some crazy threads and crazy transitions. Danny, Knuckleheads. Floor Rock, honestly, dude, Floor Rock, he influenced the whole scene. And then Battle Club, Battle Club is where we used to battle. We used to battle in like the homie's garage, and we used to just put in money and just battle. And pretty much, man, we were just going at it in transfers the whole time. Everybody had their own different style, but I think that's where a lot of the kind of vibe of let's go back and forth with this style kind of grew at that kind of little event called Battle Club.
Okay, so how I practice a lot of the stuff was you do an outside press, then tuck your legs in this way and go into a pseudo press or or a planche or no, I'm sorry, it's a pseudo planche or a planche or go into a handstand or hollow back. And then you transfer back into the original outside press position. So this is with your hands out your body. You tuck your legs in and go up like this, and then you go back into it like that. All right, the other one is you do an inside press, and then you go into a pseudo planche or go into a handstand. And then you could either go back into the inside press, or you could tuck your legs in between your arms that's suspending you. And the further you could get your nose to touch your knees, the better. Like, practice doing these things using your thumbs as support, like kind of like a tripod. And also practice them doing them flat on your palms, and then like kind of just get used to like how you want to use your thumbs or your flat palms for leverage, and when you're doing kind of like some moves like for the set.
Dang, I don't know. I think it's so broad. It's really broad because one of them would be stepping on the hands. It would be like intricate transitions from what I would know, which exactly, stuff like that, or or floats, or just like knowing how to lift yourself up so that
Floats.
your feet are touching the ground. But yeah, I would say for people to understand, it's probably just like elevating, floating, and standing on or stepping on your hands.
So the basic foundation of this style is the press position. You know what I'm saying? We were just doing freeze to freeze to freeze in the press position. For me, I was really all about trying to master doing a flare and stopping in the front instead of stopping in the back. But everybody had their own way of doing it. You know, some people were just really going from freeze to freeze. Some people had a flow where it looked like footwork in the air. You know, like we were all doing different aspects of the same kind of genre. You know what I'm saying? We were just kind of experimenting.
Question number 7. Any secrets about the press? I don't know this. I just pretty much just all spilled it all out there, you know. And I'm not gonna be like negative about it. Like, you know, I'm done. Like, you know, being like an innovator or whatever. For right now, I'm just a fat ass. I wish I was better. You know, like I think it was kind of a death of me. I was just too proud of, you know, just owning the style or whatever. But you know, time goes on. You know, like there's really no secrets that I could really like say without, you know, just like, you know, I'd have to talk to people personally and how I feel about it. I'm not gonna just put out all the stuff like out there like that. But I did show you just from my heart how I feel about all that. Like, you know, how I always get jealous whenever I see people do my moves or whatever, or how I felt was my moves, or when people would set up one of my freezes better than me. I get so jealous, you know.
Not no secrets, but I think what a lot of people don't know is in Vegas we were fortunate enough to train with some legends, you know, because like Ivan was living out here. At one point, you know, some of the guys from South Elements, they were working at a show at the New York hotel called Manhattan Show. So there were times where they would come and train with us, and full force and Knuckleheads. We were always, you know, we're part of Super Crew, so we always trained together. So we shared a lot of, you know, each other's styles and mentality behind battling and breaking. And Rouse, that's a crew I want to talk about because not a lot of people know or heard about Rouse. And Rouse Crew, they got second place at this event called Illison Game in 2001. I don't want to say like a couple, maybe like one of the members from Rouse Crew ended up in Battleborn, Rufio, and he still represents with Battleborn today. So it's kind of cool just to see the timeline of the crews and the people that stopped and the people that continued.
My rivalry with Roland lasted throughout my solo competitive career, and to this day remains as one of my greatest rivals in my entire b-boy career. In 2013, we met in Las Vegas once again and finally put our rivalry to rest with mutual and proper respect for one another. Through my research of the hand transfer style, I've come to the realization that this lost style was born out of the 90s originality mindset, mixed with an authentic cypher approach of one-upping your opponent in a race to create as many variations as possible. One day, this style will return with a fresh new approach and within the foundations of the b-boy tradition and creativity. But until then, it remains a lost and secret style of b-boy. Hey, what's up guys? I hope you enjoyed this last episode, Secrets of the Hand Transfer Style. I just want to leave you guys with a little something at the end. For those who are starting out, here's a couple of moves. Like Jin said, it all starts with the gymnastics press. First things first, you gotta learn the outside press and the inside. Once you learn those, you get to play around with it a bit. You can do it on the side, switch to the other side. And the next thing to do is to learn all the little freezes, the low-level freezes. So like Jin said, it's hard to do with a long sleeve, so roll those sleeves up. Now you've got to learn all the low freezes. So let's start with the low babies and switching. Then you should also learn stepping on the arm moves. So you have these step moves where you put your foot onto your arm and freeze. Try to get them on both sides and starting from the press like so. Also don't forget the sitting on the arm freezes. You put your knee on your shoulder, you lift your foot onto the inside and blam. The last thing you should also get is the side babies. So bringing your arm into the middle, lifting your knee, so you're pinching your arm with your knee and shoulder together, and boom, side baby. Now if you can hold the moves as good as this, then you can start to transfer them. So once you have all of those freezes, then you can start putting it together. I can't do them as good as I used to back in the day because I'm almost 40 and I got a bit of a tummy, but I can just give you an example from the press to the inside, step on the arm, and side baby. Last but not least, don't forget to use some soft shoes. I recommend these bad boys, which are state-of-the-art b-boy shoes, very soft, that keeps the classic look alive. And yes, you got it, b-boy Dyzee shoes, coming soon. Peace! Thanks for watching the Secrets of the Hand Transfer Style episode. Special thanks to my executive producer, B-Boy Recluse. The next episode will be about the abstract circus styles and will live stream premiere 2 weeks from now on Monday, January 14th at 2 p.m. EST, 11 a.m. PST, 7 p.m. UTC. See you then!
我要前面加一层新金属。The Dreamer is the first crew in the world to create a living from battles by officially representing their city with pride, beating Taichung, Thailand, and Kilo. If we beat NYC, we need to agree we are new capital of B-boy. Show me your muscles, no weak. 他们俩就输了，我请他们再去洗澡，给我办法。But my come from Chinese Kung Fu. I'm not for you. I was thinking so. Give your confidence. Once you see our move, you will shaking your hands. You know that big you said you want everything. Let's go to moment. Be more history.